Wow, this has been so impactful, insightful, rich. Thank you so very much to all our panelists. Okay, so we are looking at bringing in Mrs. Bosun Solari, who has been a member of, I would say, Son of the Soil. She has been one of us all along. Please, you have the floor. And please, if you want to make comments or you have questions, you can use the emoji to raise up your hand. Thank you. Please, you have the floor.
Yeah, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Thank you for always putting this together, Mr. Femi Boyede. It's been a pleasure being one of you, Lady K. Thank you very much. I have a few just interventions. One, I want to start with Tatrick. We have talked and talked and talked for long. Is it possible if Tatrick cannot become a CSO, civil society? Can we have an arm of Tatrick that can do that job? At Pen last week, it was said that when Segun Awolowo was the CEO of NEPC, he had a direct link with the government, with the president. Now we are not even sure what happens when, before anyone in NEPC will see the presidency. But if we have a CSO arm, we're not going to fight. All we need to do is we look for how to finance TV shows, or once a while we go to National Assembly. You know, if they keep seeing us on TV and we're saying some of these things we're saying, even if the person who should listen to NEPC is not listening, government will hear it from us. You will see one minister one day and say, these people are saying something, come and say what we're saying. Let us allow the chambers to continue to do the advocacy program. Why we still continue to do this one every month? That's that. Then to the incoming government, bilateral relations, especially within ECOWAS, they need to look into that. The relationship that our traders share with those people, it's terrible. Like I always say, I came back by road from Dakar to Lagos in March. I know what happened on that road. But honestly, what happened on that road will keep happening. If in Nigeria, within Nigerian soil, at Bagji, Badagry, after the water, a distance of less than 200 meters, you have over 30 checkpoints. Out of that 30, custom is more than 10. And everybody is extorting money from everybody. So why will those ones not extort money when they see us? So charity begins at home. And I believe that the incoming government, everything will not be politics, paying back everybody. Because when you have to pay back everybody, you cannot talk to anybody. Then I want to talk about deliberately developing exporters. Last week, too, it was said that Nigeria has 3,000 exporters. How far, how well, nobody knows. But MSMEs, we all have seen what has been in the space now, that they are trying a lot, but they don't have enough funds to be able to go bigger. So if we deliberately look at that sector, and I want to ask these questions, can we cover a part of their logistics? Because by the time you're going to send anything to Ghana, the logistics cost alone, you can't compete with the price. Can we also cover a part of the certification up to 50%? I know NEPC is doing free for people. They have done about 120 HACCP. But can I also tell you that out of those 120, most of those certificates have expired since January of last year. Many of them cannot renew it. So it's as good as they don't have the HACCP. Then for now, the agencies of government where they need to look into, AFCFTA is here. We can't begin to say anything. If you allow only 5 products for MSMEs, what are we going to sell to other countries? Because people will say you don't need NAFDAC, but when you begin to move a certain amount of volume, they won't allow you to pass the airport or the seaport because they will now demand a NAFDAC certificate. For some sometimes we say, find out the requirements of the country you are going to, so that you can do what, or they don't reject your goods. Is it difficult for an agency who is in charge of standards to have all these requirements in their purview? So that if I, as an exporter, want to go anywhere, I can go to some and find these things out. Thank you. These are some of the things we need to be talking about. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. And I believe Mr. Fenboyede is ready with an answer.
Thank you very much, Lady K. Just a quick one. Thank you so much, Bosun. Well, all your contributions have always been very punchy and very well thought out. Yes, we are ready to take on the mantle. The advocacy here has been a lifelong passion of the convener of TATRIC. So with inspiration, motivation, and this kind of public call out from people like you, I think my energy will just be recharged more. We will definitely consider stepping up, so to say, our fight for this sector. And how we do that, God will help us. We will put our heads together. Like I always say, I have the best technical team in the world. We will come out with an action plan. But more importantly, you have raised the issue, and we must have this as part of our topmost recommendations. The making of the Asian tigers, I keep referring to it. Any one of you who can get the book, or you can Google it and get a copy, was the World Bank report of 1993. World Bank report, economic report, the making of the Asian tigers. The word deliberate comes up almost 10 times on every page. So whatever it is that is being done has to be done consciously and with a deliberate orientation to ensure that it works. We took 30 companies to Banjul last year to create an export market outlet for Nigeria MSMEs. This year, I was part of those who participated in the 16th Gambia International Trade Fair. Between SMEDAN and NEPC, they supported a further 40 Nigerian companies to go. But I can tell you, without government support, not one of these companies can sell its product in Gambia. Why? Because it costs 1,500 naira to per kg to air freight from Lagos to Banjul. Okay, let's take a product as simple as I'm looking for a light one. Okay, Master Tea. One of our supporters here is the manufacturer of Master Tea. Master Tea does have the quality and the presentation to compete with any tea anywhere in the world. But Master Tea needs to get to Banjul to be able to capture the northern West African market. At 1,500 naira per kg, the entire bag itself, the cost of freight is more than the cost of the product inside it. The incoming administration obviously will need to be advised to look at export development as a deliberate activity, as a deliberate policy of that administration. That way, most of all of the things that we have said here can actually come in. Lady K, over to you.
Yes, thank you so much. I see Mr. Sidi Ali raising up his hand. You want to add to what he just said?
Yes, Lady K. I was going through the chats and I discovered that somebody was raising the question that we've been discussing on policy and nothing about infrastructure. Well, to be frank with you, I agree that we need to say much on infrastructure, And you see, it's not only infrastructure generally. We can also zero down to export infrastructure. Anything that will promote the movement, the repatriation of made in Nigerian products to the destination is something that the government need to really concentrate on. Let me just give you one example, which was raised on our WhatsApp group. Somebody brought up a question that all the airlines that came into Nigeria depart empty because it is cheaper for them to go out empty than carry something. That if you load 1,000 tons of cargo on an aircraft here in Nigeria, you are charged up to 35,000 in fees and taxes. But the same number of goods carted out from Ghana will only demand $4,000. So you see, if this is a problem that has been presented to government, now government need to now sit down and come up with deliberate policy that will get rid of that kind of challenge. So the whole thing is, whether we like it or not, we really need to hammer on government that deliberate policy should be targeted towards promoting non-oil exports in Nigeria. And promoting non-oil exports from Nigeria is both ways. You do it here at the domestic level, and you also do it at the market access level. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I can see Dr. Mulara Konji's hand up as well.
Yes, thank you, Lady K. I want to say that the person that mentioned infrastructure is very, very, on point. There's need for effective and efficient facility infrastructure and incentive facility trade to trade by the government at all level of governance. It's not just infrastructure at the port alone. From the point of production to the point of delivery, I think we need to have adequate infrastructure because it's added to the cost of trade. Going by what Auntie said earlier about the cost of moving goods from Nigeria to neighboring country. And again, the tariff and non-tariff barriers that we have, we need to look at the logistic issues because it's also another dimension that is inhibiting non-export. The custom services must be ready to do things in a standardized way. They cannot be a judge and jury in their own environment. So also in the central bank, they cannot be the regulator and also be in the market. They want to sell FX without getting to understand the balance of payment position. They are rationing FX and they are asking exporters that have struggled to make a few foreign exchange to come and sell to them at that kind of rate when the market itself is selling higher than their rate. So, there's need for, diving down, drilling down most of these policies so that it can be, easy for SM&E to trade and do particularly non-oil export. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And before I bring in John Semide, and I see your hand, Olanrewaju Elizabeth, you will speak after John Semide. Before then, let me read one of the comments from Victoria Oluwasonya. She's at a function right now, so she cannot speak, and she has asked me to read this out. She said, I'm Victoria Oluwasonya, a small cottage business owner in Lagos. The discussion has been very interesting so far, and I'm glad recommendations will be made to the incoming administration. I want to know about the following. I'm concerned that Nigerian products are not competitive on the foreign market. I read a lot of ships going back empty because the cost of moving goods from Nigeria is the highest in Africa. The EEG was given to people who have inside support at NEPC, who we understand share the grant with applicants. It's either that or you rise to embarrass NEPC publicly before you get the grant. I was with Bosun Solari the other day. She asked for the criteria and she was given quickly, called and given some grants. Why should that be? There's no encouragement at all after crossing NAFDAC, SON, MANCAP FDA red tapes by NMSME, who have put all the works but are stranded because they lack funding and don't also have insiders to access grants from NEPC. Okay, so I've read that out because part of what she's saying are already being treated, so it's better to just treat everything at the same time. You have the floor.
I think I also want to make a quick, very brief response to that. Usually in management, they talk about one cap does not fit all. I'm sorry you experienced that, but I can assure you that my humble or honorable self, or humble and honorable self, I fall into the same group with you. So I don't know if it is a person thing or if there were parameters that people don't understand. I can also assure you that Bosun has responded to this, and that she says all the 4 applications from LCCI were rejected. I went back to the then DG, Dr. Muda Yusuf, to complain. He presented the application and 3 were given. I was left back. Later, they brought up a women intervention program where one applied and presented their business plan. I did that and I got a smaller amount, not up to the Export Development Fund. Bosun, thank God for you, you even got a small amount. With all my 30 years of advocacy and championing non-oil export in Nigeria, Mr. Olufemi Boye, they say it anywhere, never got, even though I applied also, I never got anything as a support for whatever I'm doing. I have not taken anybody to court, and I've not taken them. I'm not saying that you are wrong for saying this out.
I'm a witness, I'm a witness to that story.
So, but just take it that today's session is actually to articulate a way forward for incoming administration. So we didn't get, and we are still living, and we will continue to live and champion this cause. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. Johnny Semide, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Boyede, you know how much we have committed to travel around the world because of Nigeria. Some of us are not even recognized or given one assignment or the other. We will continue. The truth of the matter is that training is important. Very many of us were trained outside this country. Sidi Ali talking train. Boyede, myself, we are living this thing. Who is taking over from us? One thing we should realize, we were working before to come and tell the younger ones. And why we were exporting at that time, because there was CCC, cooperation, coordination, and communication. Today, is there communication between the bank, the Nexim of this world, the Post Authority, and all that? So secondly, why some of us succeeded? Because we had the Nigerian National Shipping Line. We had the Nigerian Airways, which I use. Nigeria Airways will carry my goods. Today, our own freight is one of the highest in the world. People talk of infrastructure. We are the least developed sub-region in the world. People sit in their offices, and when some of us come out with template after traveling from nearby road to Senegal, carry Dangote, carry Unilever and all that, people are not ready to listen. Government officials, when you invite them, look at the level of representation. If it's Abuja, they will send level 8 to come and hold meeting with people like us. If it's Lagos, they'll be the last to come. If it's outside this country, people will take extra code, only God knows, to go and see their children overseas. Where is the target of those who are running this country? The question we continue to ask. The incoming administration to run this country like a vice chancellor of the university. We know you have a faculty. Let the political party leave the president after swearing in, and let him be the president of this country. I want to give you the final example of, please, just 1 minute. This is what I'm working on. What is Nigeria foreign policy? What is the contribution of export to our GDP? We know how much export is contributing to the GDP of other countries. Finally, this is ceramics. A professor has been working on ceramics in Nigeria for the past 30 years. People look at ceramic as mere what do you call it, salsa and all that. Nigeria is importing ceramics to the tune of $155 million. That is the one that is documented. And we are talking of creating jobs. This alone can create over 10 million jobs. Agriculture can create over 20 million jobs if we develop the value chain. Time is short, but we have a lot of things to offer. Let the incoming administration look for the retired professors and retired hands. Put them at the back seat. We will support this country.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Elizabeth Olanrewaju, you had your hand up. Are you still there?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, we cannot see you.
Yes.
Hello.
Okay. I'm glad to be here this afternoon.
Okay.
And thank you for the good work. And thank you for sustaining the conversation. But like Madam Sholari has said, we've been talking. I'm sure we're almost 2 years on this conversation. Let's have a roadmap, a technical document of how we want to move forward so that we can have something to point out in another number of months to say this is our achievement over this matter. Also, we can concentrate on a particular country. Thank God you were in Gambia last year. Gambia happens to be my baby, and I started my work from there, so I have a bit of information and knowledge of that environment, and I know they needed a lot of things from Nigeria. We can focus on Gambia and say, okay, this year, all our efforts is going to be towards the Gambia, and we can get it done. There's no way an individual SME can export to the Gambia successfully by air or by shipping a container by themselves. It's better we group them and put the stuff together in a container, which we have discussed in the past, and just have it done. We just have to sit down and say, okay, this is how we are going to move this, so. If you are in agreement, come together. These are your products, and every month we can move a container load. I think that's one of the advice I would want us to give, so that once we perfect that, we're able to overcome a lot of challenges we have spoken about. We're able to see how to work with two countries that are English-speaking countries. We can, in fact, from Gambia, we can spread to other neighboring countries, because those other ones do not, like Guinea-Bissau and other countries that are neighboring to them, can still take out of the one we have shipped into Gambia. There's so much that can be done. We're all agreed for one reason or the other, but let's look at the way forward. That might be better. Thank you all. God bless.
Thank you so very much. Very wonderful contribution. Now I yield the floor back to Olufemi Boyede. But before I do that, please use the chat forum to introduce yourself, share the information you are comfortable with. I'm the director of so. I'm joining you from here. My email address, my contact address, if you feel comfortable. But this forum, usually this platform, is usually also for networking. Thank you so very much. I yield the floor to Olufemi Boyede.
Thank you very much. I think we already ate into the time of participants. Please forgive me. And I'm just seeing one notification that I don't want to turn down. I'm just seeing it. I'm sure you guys on the technical team would have seen Alinda. He's actually His Excellency Alinda, Nigeria's trade representative at South Africa. He wants to talk. Please, let's give him 1 minute.
Thank you very much, sir, for the opportunity to speak at this wonderful platform. In fact, each time I see this webinar is being organized, I try to join from wherever I am to ensure that I get value to my work even here in South Africa. I'm sure you can hear me. In fact, I joined the conference around 5 p.m. this evening. I was traveling from Pretoria to go to Joburg for another event, but I wanted to participate. And I think the contribution that I've had so far are just super wonderful. For example, I am in South Africa here, and you see, by the time you look at the trade balance between Nigeria and South Africa, you know there's, yes, there should is in favor of Nigeria, but what is the figure? The figure is for petroleum products. I mean, crude oil. It doesn't make any economic value, even though yes, they will say yes, there's more money coming in. But I think for me, and I like the idea and the last speaker spoke about focusing on a particular country and see how.
Okay, so so that we don't lose time, my own comment is just very, very brief. I acknowledge the very brilliant contributions. I think somebody talked about bilateral relations. And if you recall, in our last webinar, we did talk about the need for economic diplomacy. It used to be part of Nigeria's trade policy and strategy. And I have mentioned it time and again. For those of you living in Canada, I keep saying, for those of us living in Canada, I keep reminding us that whatever you buy from a Nigerian store in Canada is actually out of the magnanimity of CBSA. If you go to CBSA portal, CBSA is Canada Border Service Agency. They work hand in hand with CFIA, Canada Food Inspection Agency, same as FDA in the US. If you go to their portal, there are goods deemed as admissible from every economic partner of Canada. There is not a single one that is deemed admissible from Nigeria. Once it is listed, it can come in without any encumbrances. But okay, they know that Canada does have a very, very large population of Nigerian origin. That's the reason why it's there. Without economic diplomacy, economic shuttle, and what have you, it can't work. The brilliant idea suggested by Elizabeth Nwanko just now about group movement is called groupage, right? Movement of SMEs goods, maybe one container a month, and very brilliant. But you are still going to pass through all the borders and all the checkpoints and toll gates that Bosun talked about in her experience coming from Dakar. The only antidote to that is what retired controller Ogunleye mentioned on our webinar, I think, was it in December or November last year, when he tried to remind us, or maybe February this year, that there is actually a transport code that was developed by ECOWAS, but it's not in use. What is that? But economic diplomacy. We need to intensify that. We need to find the solutions that will be endorsed, accepted, and implemented by all member states, at least of ECOWAS first, if we are saying that we want to be a big player in the African Free Continental Trade Agreement. I think the deliberate development of export has to start that way. And I can tell you, part of what is working in my mind now, I'll be discussing this with the technical team after today's thing, is probably begin to play our role really as a CSO for this sector. My thinking is that we can do a paper to Smidan, who is already aware of the challenges of the SMEs and the NEPC in such a way that we can consider their support maybe once a month to hire a 20-ton truck that will take the goods of Nigerian SME exporters, starting from Apapa deposit in Cotonou, Lomé, Abidjan, and all that until they get to Dakar. I think this can be a deliberate, going back to the word deliberate, support from the incoming administration. For now, I definitely want to put a pause to my own ideas and contributions and hand over back to you, Lady K, for towards the rounding up of this event.